Episode 109, Mom's Basement MMA. And today I'm talking to El Jefe, Jose Perez. Jose, man, you are like on my top list of pound for pound fighters on the regional scene that I think is going to get a call to one of the big three sometime this year. You are an insanely talented fighter. I'm really excited to have you here, man. So I'm glad our schedules linked up and I'm glad we could do this.
Yeah, thanks a lot. It just worked out. We had kind of touched base on it before. Yeah, you just said that I've been fighting like crazy, so I'm glad that I've got a little break in between to come talk with you guys.
Absolutely. So I have to ask you a couple of questions. First and foremost, with the fight scene and with like fighter pay and all that other stuff, you can't really be that much of a gambling man, right? So what I mean by that is you're in a fight camp, it lasts 4 to 8 weeks. And then for you, I know you get paid $5 million and $5 million. I know that's your purse, right? So when you're competing 4 or 5 times a year, like every single time you get paid, like you can't really screw around. Like that's like a really big deal. And if you don't perform, half your pay is gone right away. With that being said, I have a proposition for you. Let's say instead of your usual 5 million and 5 million, it's 10 million, just 10 million flat. You got to win. You got to win. Okay. And it could be against anyone you want. The catch is on the undercard. I have to fight, and I have to fight Justin Bieber. And you have 4 to 8 weeks to train me to beat Justin Bieber. But it's like a parlay. If I lose, you're fucked. But if I win, then you got a chance too. So how would you be feeling about that? If I had to fight Justin Bieber, no fighting experience whatsoever, but he's like half my size. Do you think with 8 weeks you could train me to like destroy Justin Bieber?
He's been with the money team. He's been training with Mayweather. So we got to get your takedowns right. Probably put maybe 2 weeks into takedown offense and getting that shot going. And we're gonna spend the last 4 working on a position and just one submission, just one go-to. You're gonna be the Kimura guy. It's so easy to hit that Kimura. You're just gonna take Justin down.
And I'm not gonna let go either, man. I'm breaking it. He'll tap, and they're gonna have to pull me. They're gonna have to rip me off that kid. I like my chances, and yeah. So there you have it. And so, like your dream fight, who would you fight in that dream type of scenario? If you could just pick anybody.
I just watched Patty last night, and I'm sure a lot of people were impressed, and I seen that, and I was like, dude, no way. He's too sloppy on the stand-up, and I know I just barely got to show him my stand-up, but he's too sloppy on the stand-up, and I think I got him on the ground for sure. So I definitely think, just because we were talking about it yesterday, me and my team talking smack about Patty, so definitely Patty. I'd fight him.
Hey, I love that matchup. And that's one thing about Patty is like, I feel like they're hyping this kid up quite a bit. He's exciting. He's an English fighter. They like to promote guys like that over there. But I look at him, and every single guy that he's fought has gotten into trouble at one point or another. And these are guys that they're feeding him. They're pulling a Bellator job. They're pulling a Bellator job on this guy. And I love Bellator. I'm just saying it how it is, though. They are feeding guys to Patty the Batty. And yeah, that's great that he's got 2 first-round finishes, but like that entire body of work, that's not enough to like really impress me. I have yet to be wowed by him, and I assume you agree.
They're just building up. They're just building him up right now, so that way get some more hype around him. Any names that don't know him, or anybody that doesn't know his name, gets to know his name, and once they get him hyped up enough, then they're gonna give him the killer, and we'll actually see how he does.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I'm not quite a believer just yet. Let's wait. Let's see. I want to shift gears. I want to talk about you for a second. You are one of those guys where it seems like you've been around forever, but then like I look at like your entire fight history, and like it's not true. Like every single time, like I'm just so used to like, oh, CFFC. And then I'm like, oh, okay, Jose's going to be fighting soon. Like, you're just like synonymous with that promotion to me. Anytime there's a big card coming up, they'll just say like, oh, CFFC like 115 or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, Jose will be on the main card for that. Like, and by and large, that's been pretty much the case since 2020 when you got with the promotion. And you're kind of like a big featherweight. So I'm gonna ask, number one, like, how are you able to stay so active? And I would imagine the weight cut to 45, like, you really can't screw around too much, even when you're not fighting, because that would be an insane cut. I would imagine, I'm not going to ask you what you walk around at, but I know it's nowhere near 145 pounds. So,
No, I definitely shouldn't blow
how the
up
hell are
as
you
much
able
as
to
I
do
did.
it, man?
Dude, grit. It's not, there's nothing about me physically or anything about that that's helping me out. It's not that I'm super close. I know I'm super skinny, but if you look at my actual frame, like I'm only so skinny because I've been cutting every 2 months for the past year and a half, almost 2 years of my life now. So retaining muscle is a little tough. But if you just look at my actual frame, 45 is about as low as I could go at all. Because it's not fat, it's not muscle that has to go. It's just my body is what it is. So honestly, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say that I keep like a tremendous shape when I'm off. I have a beer sitting right next to me right now, but I didn't put it in camera so that you guys didn't see it. But I'm enjoying myself and enjoying not having the diet and cut for a little while. But no, yeah, I basically once I find out about the fight and I get a name, then I kind of kick it into overdrive and start to do what I need to do. Um, the last fights helped me out a lot, so I've been able to get in touch with the manager, and they're trying to set me up with a nutritionist. And I just think that that's like the next step for me is I have all the skills and I've been around the game forever. So I haven't been in the light forever, but I've been in the game and around the game my whole life. But that's really the next step is I can get better in skill, but I'm really gonna have to beat that craft because of how refined it already is. But I am a blank slate when it comes to like my physique and like physical development and strength and conditioning as a whole. So I mean, I think sky's the limit on that, so that's really what we should be focusing on. So yes, I need to clean my diet up a little bit when I'm out of fight camp, stay closer weight, especially right now with the UFC being like kind of right there. But
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, yeah, it's definitely not the easiest thing. It's not fun. And when I really think of it, it doesn't scare me to get in there and get bloody. It scares me to dehydrate.
Yeah.
That scares me. That's what I think about for the fight.
Yeah, I could only imagine because the weight cut, I mean, that takes its toll. And for you, to your point, you do it so often. Do you envision they'll eventually get to a point where like 55 is probably where you will end up one day?
Yes. So I have I've got like an idea of how everything is going to play out for like the rest of my career. Obviously, I know I'm not going to go too in detail like into exactly who I'm going to fight, but I have a projection on how things are going to go. And yeah, 55 is definitely in the cards for me in the long run. I'm probably going to get into the UFC and start out at 45, and eventually once I basically, so I work a day job right now, but once my goal is to get rid of that day job in the near future, and that'll open up the door to, like I was saying in the last question, kind of that strength and conditioning. That could be my morning regimen, double up
Mhm.
my training, work on the physique. But yeah, 55, once I have the time to actually put in and try to gain some muscle, and because those guys they're not small, so my height advantage would basically dissipate going up. I'd
Right.
have to be physically ready.
When I look at you, it's like I forget how big you are. And then every single time I see you in the ring getting ready to fight, I'm like, oh yeah, he's fucking huge. Like you're not like I don't know.
Muscular at all.
I don't know what to say. Like you're not like this, but like you're just freaking tall. Like you're like that Dan
I'm
Hooker
I'm
type.
I'm shaped like a Lego block. The little 6-piece
Yeah,
Lego block.
yeah,
I don't taper at all. My hips to my shoulders is just one thing. I'm just a big rectangle.
yeah. Well, and it's just something like physique wise, you remind me of like Dan Hooker. Dan Hooker's like that too, a real tall guy. Um, and I had concerns about him going back down because he's like 32, 33 years
Oh, we
old.
were we were talking. Wait, no, that wasn't me and you talking about. I was talking about someone else actually about
Yeah,
his fight last night. I do believe that him dropping back down to 45 kind of hurt him there.
that
But no,
probably affected his chin quite a bit.
Chin and cardio. Even I kind of was a little worried, even in the back, like when he was in the back and they were recording him shadow boxing, he was just moving so slow and looked so out of it. But
yeah, and it just kind of makes me think like, wow, like at this point in his career, he's going down to 45. Like that's a red flag. I didn't really like that. I like your plan though. I mean, you're a young dude still, so now's the time to be 45. And then, as you get closer to 30, that is probably going to be the more logical move.
oh,
Probably
100%.
be a lot easier on your body. And it'll probably
And
be an advantage, right? Like that's probably going to be a
oh,
strength
100%.
advantage for you.
But it's confidence too, So I mean,
Yeah.
so the idea of like when you think about fighting, you think of who you're fighting. You don't think of like who you are, where you fit in it. So I mean, I think of like, oh, would I rather fight someone who's this size or someone just a little bit bigger? And obviously you're going to go with the smaller option because you think that's helping you. But when you really do factor in what I go through, every 2 months to try to get down and fight that smaller guy, right now I think it's worth it just for the headspace, knowing that I'm fighting someone that's not like a tank. But once I get my confidence up and I get comfortable in there, and like I said, yeah, the physical sides of things, 55 is going to be the option. I think that's when I'll make my like top tier. That'll be the best version of me,
Yeah.
either at or just over 30, and at 155, I think I could be one of the greatest in the world. And I know that sounds really cocky, but
Well, I've seen you fight though. I've seen you fight. I've seen pretty much all your fights. And I think you've earned the right to say some of that type of stuff. Cause like for some reason you're that guy that still flies under the radar. I don't understand why. I see your body of work out there. I see these guys that you're fighting against. Your ground game is on a totally different level than most people I've ever seen. And we'll get to some of your bouts that I want to pick up on, but I kind of want to start back to the beginning with you. And I know Tapology isn't always an accurate indicator of how many fights somebody's had. Looking at yours, it says that you had 3 AMI fights and you turned pro in 2020. Are there any AMI fights that they dropped off that they're not giving you credit for?
No. So right before my first amateur fight, it was also in 2017. I was supposed to have my first amateur fight, which amateurs, there's no contracts. There's literally no guarantee if the guy's even going to be there. So showed up. He showed up to weigh-ins. Fight night, he did not show up. Lucky and unlucky enough, I had another guy who same weight, also had someone not show up. Only issue is he knew that I was good at jiu-jitsu because he was from the local area.
Mm-hmm.
So he knew that I had jiu-jitsu. So we ended up just doing a kickboxing match. And I didn't have any confidence in my kickboxing match at that point in time, or in my kickboxing experience, to say, at that point in time. So, I mean, I ended up winning, but that one's not, that's a kickboxing match. That one's not put on my record. But yeah, I did need it. It helped me out.
Wow.
So that fight, the 3 amateur fights, but otherwise everything else is on there.
So your last AMI fight was in the fall of 2017, and you don't turn pro until 2020. Did you just take some time off? Were you sailing to China? Were you finding yourself? Were you frolicking in the meadows? Like what were you doing for those 3 years?
Oh, I was getting fat and I had quit. So in 2016, midway through 2016, I had one munchkin. Mm-hmm. And I kept rolling, kept going with it. And then 2017, I had another munchkin on the way. So I figured it was time after that last fight, I was going to go pro. Mm-hmm. And I was actually going to fight a guy named Adil Benjelani. And I'm not saying anything, but that fell through, not on my end. And that was going to be basically the start of that. And once that fell through, I just took a break and started, got a new job, started working on getting a household together, like getting the money together for a down payment on a house was like an insane part of our life. Yeah. But it took me away, yeah. At no point in job in 2017, there was no point that I had a job. Like I didn't even work. I just fought, like sounds a little bummy, but that's genuinely what most fighters do is they don't work. They just fight. Once I had the munchkins on the way, I figured I would get back to it at some point. Started working, just kept getting further and further away from it. And time started going away. I just wrapped my head around the fact that I probably wasn't going to do it again. I got way too fat super fat. And the thing is, I've trained my whole life. So when you're used to training at this like high caliber all the time, you get used to that and you can eat whatever you want and not get fat. So I grew accustomed to that. So I had horrible eating habits. I still have some horrible eating habits that I'm working through. But if you eat like that and you don't train, you're gonna get fat. I started getting fat. I called a bunch of gyms in my area and basically was saying like, hey, look, I don't want to ever fight again, but I do want to train like a fighter so that I can continue my lifestyle of eating. Anyways, push came to shove, just like everybody knew. I went in the gym. I was gonna fall in love with it again. They knew I would fight again once I started it. I swore I wouldn't, and I was sure I believed that I wouldn't fight again. But no, I definitely started fighting again. I did wait about a year, and then I got caught, in the mix of COVID. Literally, it was gonna be March of 2020 was gonna be my first pro fight, and then everything shut down, delayed it for 6 months. One of my friends, Bo, a training partner at G2, he was going to fight Brandon Gator. He broke his hand. I was able to fill in. They were still operating because of UFC Fight Pass, even during COVID. So it was kind of a blessing that I fell into that. And the rest is now history.
Did Jose, the time away from the game, did that like help in a way though? Did that like help you mentally?
I think about that all the time. So like I had said, before I wasn't working, I was just training. So there was no if I wasn't training, what else was I going to do? I didn't, hang out with my friends. That's great. But having the munchkins, I know it sounds super generic and everyone says that having kids changes you, or like, oh, wait till you have kids, or you don't understand, wait till you have kids. And it sounds generic to use that, but it is. It's not even that. It's failing on your own sucks. Failing with your munchkins, if you do it right, is not an option. You can't, so it took me away and basically kind of showed me absence creates admiration, and I wasn't doing it, and I was, going through a rocky part of my life. I was kind of synonymous with what I did and identified as a fighter my whole life, and to not have that was like a chunk of me was missing. So I just kind of went about my business for 3 years and tried to tuck that away, and it really hurt me. So it showed me that I do love the sport and exactly what it would feel like to not have it. So it gave me a point in time to really appreciate what I'm doing, because I didn't have it at a moment. And yeah, the munchkins and the household and trying to hold everything together is kind of giving me a new sense of responsibility. And to kind of add even further to that, I have girls. I don't have boys. I have 2 girls. So I'm around hard-nosed meathead fighters trying to, forgive my French, but kick my ass every day. And that's a really masculine like environment. So this kind of balances me out. I come home and I can't just say or do whatever I want. If these guys have thick skin, if I say something wrong or do something wrong or yell too loud or anything, if I do anything out of character, then the little girls are sensible to it. So I got to make sure that I'm emotionally intelligent. And as odd as it sounds, if you go back and were to watch my Nick Maupin fight, it's the only one on YouTube. I'm round 1, he's not going away. At that point in time, I was undefeated, all finishes in the first round really fast, even the amateur career. So I was not understanding why this guy wasn't going away, So I'm throwing like a temper tantrum in the fight, and I ended up performing like way under what I should have, and basically blew my wad in the first just because I'm trying to put him away. Catching myself in a temper tantrum. So things like that go away, I would be more inclined to do something like that on the amateur level when I was like less emotionally intelligent and didn't understand what was going on. So having these little girls, keeping my mind in check, remaining calm at all times, my patience goes up. So now I'm in this fight, and as odd as it sounds, those same qualities that help me, be a better parent to these little girls kind of like balance me and keep me poised in the fight, because it wasn't something that I thought I had to work on. You think violence is the best way to fight, and just for me being who I am, that doesn't help me. I need to be like balanced.
That reminds me of so much. So like I totally identify with what you're saying, because I'm a father myself. I have 2 kids. I have a boy and a girl. And wait till they're 14 and 15, by the way. Good luck with
patience
that.
will go away.
Holy crap. You're going to be living in the gym by then. But I'll tell you this, like on a serious note, you it definitely makes you like reprioritize things in your life. And like when you are outside of your family unit, when you're away from your wife, when you're away from your kids, I'm always thinking to myself, like, okay, what am I doing? What is my purpose? Like, what is my game plan? Right. So, like, I'm very deliberate. Like, if I'm going to go to the gym or if I'm going to do a show with somebody, it takes away time from my family. Right. So, it's like, what do I want to achieve? What do I want to be able to look back on and say, like, yep, like I may have sacrificed some personal time, but like this is what we ended up getting out of it. And you don't really think about life like that until you have kids. Like we take our freedoms for granted. You just go wherever you want, you do whatever the hell you want. There's no game plan. You don't know what you're gonna have for dinner because you can just ride life off the seat of your pants. Like when you become a parent, all that stuff goes out the window. Does that help you like be a little bit more focused when you do train? Like, okay, this is what I need to achieve. This is exactly what I need to get out of this because I'm not going to go to the gym and just flack around and like waste my time. Like I'm going to get something out of this, and because I got to get back home.
Oh, 100%. So that's actually a point I was gonna make right after that, but you said it completely better than I would have phrased it. So kudos to you. But yes, definitely training with a purpose. So if I'm at the gym, I can't dilly dally. I can't waste time. I have to like basically when I hit up my training partners, we got our own little group chat. I see who's going and if it seems like it's a skimpy day, then I'm gonna find a way to get my workout in. You know what I'm saying? If it's fight time and the gym's not, hopping for whatever reason, I'm gonna hit another gym. I'm gonna hit up, some training partners that I used to train with and get some rounds in with them. I'm gonna do something. So like you said, it's prioritizing my time a little better. Like if I'm away from them, it damn well better be worth it. So I'm gonna work hard when I am in the gym. So yeah, exactly what you're saying. I
Yeah.
love the way you phrased it. It definitely
Because
makes
there
me
are
work
certain
harder when I'm away.
guys, there's certain guys I talk to, they're like 20 years old and they like live in the gym and they can afford to have like I don't know if off day is the right word, but like it could kind of like be a social club of sorts. Like, yeah, I'm in the gym, fucking around. Let's do our WWF moves and play grab ass like when we're in the gym, and that's okay. I'm not trying to like squash that, like not at all. But you get a point into your life where like things start changing and like those things stop mattering to you and you become a lot more like focused on the task at hand. Maybe that's just
Hmm.
part of growing up and being boring, but you definitely do think a lot more about your time as you start getting older. Looking
Well, yeah,
at,
like you said,
but
20-year-old guys in the gym, they're just like you said, it is a social hour. At that point, it's so when I was fighting amateur, that's kind of what it was like. It's egotistical, it's social. I want to hang out with these people in the gym because they know and understand what I'm doing and they can appreciate that. So it's kind of like you're the man on campus. You want to hang out in that environment as much as possible and kind of soak in that like, ooh, that feeling of being the man. And so yeah, I would rather be at home. So that is what you're saying, that importance of something like that,
yeah,
that social hour, that just, oh, I'm just dilly dallying at the gym. If I'm at the gym, it makes it harder to get to the gym. But when I'm there, I understand that I'm there for a purpose and I have to achieve that purpose. Otherwise, I've spent all that time away from the household and away from the munchkins for nothing.
yeah, absolutely. And I'm gonna go ahead and guess, like with you being a lot more deliberate about what it is that you're trying to achieve, what you're trying to obtain, like I would think that makes you an even more disciplined fighter because fighting in and of itself is a full-time job, but so is being a parent, so is being a husband, so is being a full-time worker. Like your life is like chopped up in like all these different compartments and you have to like fill each one of those compartments up with like your full potential. Sometimes, and that's always like a struggle, right? That's always like difficult to do because you have all these pots that you're trying to keep fill, and we're all human beings, and sometimes it's not always possible. You might have a great day with your kids, but you sucked ass at the gym today, or you got hurt, or maybe your boss was being a jerk, but whatever the case may be, it's just like trying to balance and manage all that stuff, and
Mm-hmm.
it's not easy to do.
Buckets with little holes at the bottom. It's funny that you say that because I actually like maybe when I'm talking too much and going on a tangent, that's what I'll phrase it as is yeah, we all got these little buckets, and they've got holes and we got a steady flow of water, which is your attention and your energy. And I can fill right now, just pouring all my energy and time into the bucket and giving it to my daughters when I can, because there's only 3 shifts in a day. Sleeping has to be one, I always say. And then 1 shift's at work. And then the other shift is kind of playing half and half between being a dad as much as I can, and training also as much as I can. So I'm kind of, it's tough, but sometimes I'll half-ass the munchkins when it's, I'm not at home as much as I should, so that's what I mean by half-ass. But so I'm at the gym all the time. They're not getting my time or energy as much as they should or deserve to. And, or vice versa. Now I'm off training and, I'm getting into the gym as much as I can, but I could definitely go more. But at the same time, it's like, am I going to start robbing them again? So we kind of look forward to these breaks in between fights, so that I can hang out with my family, more consistently. But yeah, like you said, at all times, I can't just pour all my water just into fighting or all my water just into my family. I kind of got to split those things evenly. But there's a laundry list of other buckets that are, have ran dry a long time ago because I'm just so, tunnel vision on these 2 facets of my life.
When I look at your fighting career, every single time I see you back out, I've watched everything that's on Fight Pass I've seen. There's a different version of you every single time that you get in there. And you don't look like the same guy. And I mean that in a good way. Like, I think like every single time I see your striking's a lot crisper. You're doing things on the ground I haven't seen you do before. Like, I have a pretty good pulse on like how you fight stylistically. Like, if you watch enough fights from somebody, you start picking up on tendencies. You start picking up on like some things that I've noticed that you like to do. Like, okay, watch him level change here, and then bam, you sure enough, you will. Or watch him reverse position on the cage right here, and bam, sure enough, you will. I like seeing that, man. Like, you're leveling up, you're fighting against these really tough guys. And I want to hit on one of your fights. It was the Deandre Anderson fight. And this is a fight, for people who don't remember it, it was a fight that you got caught. You got caught right away, like 10 seconds into the first round. And I was watching this one. I was like, all right, he's going to get ready to fight. All right, this is going to be a war. And then I'm like, oh, fuck, what happened? Right? I was disappointed. And I moved on with my day because it's like, all right, well, whatever. What can you do, right? This was something that you had been preparing for months. And for you to not get that result, despite putting in all the time, all the energy, the camp, the cut, all the sacrifices away from your daughters, your wife, like, for the fight to go down that way, it could be very, very easy to find yourself in a dark, dark place. And can you tell me a little bit about how difficult was that fight for you? You're a guy that doesn't lose. That was the first time you have lost. How did you handle that sort of adversity, and how did you kind of like rebound and get right back out there? Because a few months later, you did go back out there.
So that was the worst thing ever. You can't, like, in a jiu-jitsu tournament, not as many people see it, and you can possibly get that ran back pretty quickly. We're in the regional level. If we were the top tier guys in our division and there wasn't as many options for competition for us, then I'd probably get that one back. But now he's in a different division, A, and B, we're in the regional scene. So we're probably going to end up on different paths. We're both still growing. So like you said, I'm a different fighter every time. I've talked about that before too. Like, your mental headspace is always different. So sometimes I'll come out and I'm super chill. Sometimes I'll come out and I'm super revved up. I haven't done this long enough to have a quote way on how I do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm trying to get to. I'm trying to figure out the right cocktail of emotions and warm up and all these things that I do in preparation, either right before or leading up to that fight. So I'm trying to get that right, and figure out exactly where I need to be. And when I do, that's once I find my rhythm, it's over with. But so yeah, I am different every time. But that fight in particular, I was so calm. I was so poised. I was so ready for it. I lost really fast. I did go into a dark spot, and everyone was telling me like, "Oh, throw the shorts away. The shorts that you wore, like those reek of defeat. Get rid of those." So I thought about it. I didn't cut my hair. Basically, what I told myself is Issa Dalapaj was supposed to be my basically me getting it back. It was supposed to be my own get back. I wasn't going to fight DeAndre Anderson again. It's probably very unlikely. Different paths, and on the regional level, there's just too many options and too many fights for you to make for that. Fixated on one person. I've got 7 fights. What do I look like having 2 of them against the same guy? But Issa Dalapaj was the closest thing I could get. I needed to run it back for me, for my own mind, not for anybody else. I needed it for me. Issa Dalapaj was someone who was undefeated, just like DeAndre Anderson. He had all these knockouts, so I knew he had the ability to knock me out, just like DeAndre Anderson. He was a highly touted prospect, just like DeAndre Anderson. So it was basically me trying to reinvent the circumstances that I was in before. I didn't cut my hair. Literally, the hair I fought Issa Dalapaj with was the same exact haircut. The haircut I got in DeAndre Anderson was the last haircut I got even before Issa Dalapaj. So same hair, same haircut, same shorts, same everything. So I wanted to recreate that same situation and overcome what I fell from before. And I did, and it helped my mind so much. So, I mean, even in the 3rd round, I kind of was hesitating. Like, I could have really went harder, but I hear their team screaming that he's got to knock me out because I'm 2 rounds ahead. And I've seen him do it to other people. I've seen videos of me getting knocked out. So I know I can be knocked out. I know he has the ability to do it. So knowing that and kind of biting down on your mouthpiece and going forward is scary. So I was still a little timid against Issa Dalapaj. I had more to do. I could have shown more, but just coming off a loss. Paul Capaldo was a step up, but again, further from that loss. And I had the Issa Dalapaj fight to kind of lean on to rekindle that spark that hey, dude, you're still the man. You still got it. And yeah, I got to show a lot of things I haven't shown before.
The iteration of you from Dalipaj to Capaldo, though, was very, very different. And I almost feel like I was looking at a totally different guy. Yes, I know it's you, but there's these things that I'm seeing you do. I can't really describe what it is. They're very subtle things, things that I know that you're working on with your coaches, with your teammates. Again, very, very subtle. I think I'm going to go ahead and guess that it's either you or your coaches. You guys look at a lot of film, or they do. And there are certain things that you game plan for. Because when I saw you fight Dalipaj and then just a few months later you're fighting Capaldo, I feel like the guy that fought Paul Capaldo would destroy the version of you that fought Dalipaj. And it's crazy to say that because we're only talking 3 or 4 months down the road. There was a very little amount of time in between the Dalipaj fight and the Capaldo fight. I always wanted to ask you, and I never asked this question leading up to a fight. I just don't. But now that this fight is in our rearview mirror, I don't have a problem asking it. What was your game plan going into the Paul Capaldo fight? Because this guy, undefeated, very dangerous. I would go as far as to say he's probably, CFFC has had a lot of high profile names make it to the big leagues and kind of move on. Johan Lioness, he's kind of a big name that moved on recently. Solomon Renfro, he is more than likely going to get into the UFC. Elise Reed. So all these names are people that are in the UFC or in these big leagues that have left. I say all that because I think Capaldo is kind of their guy right now. I think he's the guy that they're trying to use to brand the promotion, and I understand it.
Yeah.
He's a young guy. He's very, very talented. They'd be foolish not to. What was your game plan going into that fight against a guy that good and that dangerous?
So first portion, you kind of mentioned drilling and watching tape. So for this one, we knew he was going to be a good wrestler. We knew his strikes were what they were, but this sounds arrogant. We knew that I had striking. We knew that I could do that. It's only a couple months, like you said. So I did do some drilling. Don't get me wrong. I did some drilling and tried to refine some things and tighten some things. And I did watch some tape, and I knew that I do want to be kind of forward, but that's kind of who I am anyways as a fighter. I'm kind of pressure forward anyways. We just felt that it was good for us in the striking aspect. What we didn't know, I knew that it would end on the ground, or I should say I didn't finish him. I thought it would get to the ground and I would eventually finish him. I knew, and my game plan was to really shine in the strikes. I don't care if you take me down. I
Mhm.
don't care. I don't care. No matter how good, like that's the one thing I'll say. So in time, I will shine. I will develop. I'm not saying I'm the greatest MMA fighter right now at this moment, but with my skill set and my potential, I just think that, as I develop, I'm going to end up way better than I am now. Because like you said, 3 months, it's not that I'm drilling anything new. It's that I'm getting further from that loss and building confidence to like, if you see me train in the gym, Jose in the gym would destroy every Jose that's ever fought. So I'm mean and nasty, but I'm just so put together and so poised and like comfortable in the gym that I use all of my moves, not just some of it. When you get into that high pressure situation, your game kind of slims down to only the most effective, the highest percentage moves make the cut, and a lot of things that are kind of like, ooh, I fell over one time. Oh, this guy mounted me one time like that. Those don't make the cut. Those get put out. So we didn't know if I could take him down per se, but we knew that my striking was good enough if I was comfortable enough that my striking was good enough to put him in danger. We weren't sure if I could take him down or not. We didn't know how good or good he wasn't, that worked out in my favor, but we knew on the ground that I could. And this is again with respect to Capaldo, but this is just my art is jiu-jitsu. I just think that I'm far superior to him. I think I could have smoked him on the ground. So there was no like direct game plan. We kind of had to see which Jose was coming out there, because like you said, I looked different in every fight. If it was Jose that was just shooting for takedowns, I might not have gotten those takedowns because it's just real obvious what I was going for. But if we knew if I could strike and really
That's
show
going
my
to set
hand,
up your level changes.
exactly, he's paying attention to those strikes, and that's going to help me move on to the next step and actually get into the game of grappling.
And that's probably a good way to describe it, because it is your striking that I see. There's certain things that you're using to like set up, like you're just not shooting for naked takedowns. You're using your striking to set up your level changes. I think that's super important. It shows that you're evolving, and you know that, okay, yes, jiu-jitsu is my bread and butter, but what if I don't get somebody down on the ground? Then what?
Yeah, and
Well, you better be able to figure that out.
The ground, if my takedowns were higher efficiency, like guaranteed anyone got taken down, then I wouldn't worry about it. I would just go and basically Khabib the whole world. So
Exactly.
I work on my takedowns all the time, because I understand that that's the doorkeeper. Are you a
Right.
striker? If so, you're gonna need to wrestle to keep it there. Are you a jiu-jitsu guy? If so, you're gonna need to wrestle to get it there. But I had to show my striking. I didn't want to have to get I didn't want to have to use my striking for the first time against someone where it was like a situation where I had to, I want to know that I can take this guy down if I need to, but that's the most comfortable time that you can strike is if I don't want to strike, I can get out of it. But let me try this. Let me give this
Yeah,
a shot real
yeah.
quick.
No, I love it. I think it's fantastic. And one of the things that, and this is going to be anecdotal as hell, it's probably not true, but it is in my mind anyway. If you have a jujitsu base, knock on wood, but like that should do something for the longevity of your career. Because if you're able to get guys down on the ground and able to make it a ground fight and choke guys out and not go in these like 5 round Nate Diaz type wars, that only is going to pay dividends over the course of the long haul. You don't
Mm-hmm.
really see, unless they're heavyweights, you don't see these like strikers that are fighting at a very, very high level that are like 155 pounds. Like you don't see that.
No.
It just doesn't happen.
I agree. When Capaldo hit me and he actually split me, I knew I was cut. No one else did. I felt blood and my eyes shut. If I didn't have that option or that, fallback, or what I always call the greatest safety net in the world,
Mm-hmm.
in a fight, I can take it to the ground. I know I'm fine. I don't care who you are. Even if you are on paper better than me, I don't think, and this is also going to sound like ignorant, I don't think that in MMA jiu-jitsu, at least, I don't think there's anyone that's just going to take me down and just smoke me, like anyone in existence. I don't think anyone in my weight class is that good or that much better than me. There are people I feel are maybe slightly better than me on the ground, but not enough to where if they hurt me standing up, I'd be able to survive long enough on the ground to where I could get my marbles back and stand back up, you know. So I had that safety net with Capaldo because he did cut me open. It wasn't a good situation. I needed to get to the ground for a moment, and I was able to finish off the round on the ground. But if anything, I'm not guaranteeing the 5-round fights won't happen because pride is a motherfucker, and I have a tendency of, oh, Capaldo's a great striker. Let me try to strike him a little bit. You know, East is a great striker. Let me try to strike him a little bit. I went against Deandre Anderson, and I was like, I'm gonna run through this guy. So same thing. I'm just kind of forward pressure. So if anything, it's gonna be my pride that kind of shoots me in the foot with the 5-round bangers. But the ground's always an option.
I watching that fight, and I've seen it a lot. I've seen it a lot. The blood that happened when you guys were clinching, right? Did he knee? I assume he kneed or elbowed you.
No.
What happened? How did you get cut?
So it was kind of my own dumbass fault too. So the talking is genuine. When I talk in the fight, that's genuine. That's not me putting on a show. That's not me trying to scare the other guy. That's I'm at a high emotional level, and it's just
Sure.
like imagine like I'm full of emotion. It's just seeping out of my mouth. I'm literally talking, like just talking shit because I feel so much emotion. But so I'm talking to him. That's the precursor to me getting my eye cut. So it's kind of like, oh, stupid ass. But
Right.
so I hit a jab, I hit a cross, and I kind of make a face like, ooh, I know that hurt. And this man hit me with a hook on my chin, and I saw stars for a moment. And then he hit me with another hook. Same thing, left hook, left hook, left hook. He hit me left hook in the chin, saw stars. Left hook to the eye, and it was like just these little four knuckles right here,
Yep.
and it just split me right open.
The
And it
seams on
shut.
the glove.
And I tried to throw it right and couldn't even see where it landed because this whole side was just kind of gone as far as
Yeah.
vision goes. And he threw another hook and yeah, kicked in the safety net. I went to take him down, but no, it was just a regular left hook, just landed with these
Wow.
little four knuckles right on the like corner of my eyebrow.
When I saw, I knew it was a cut. I didn't know how bad it was until it made it to the ground. And I'm sure, you squeezing the guy didn't really help. That's just going to make blood shoot out of your head even more. That probably made the bloodbath. Had it been
Man,
just a striking battle, it was still going to be a nasty cut. But the fact that it made it down to the ground and you're squeezing on this guy as like hard as you are, like, dude, I've never seen. It'd been a minute since I've seen that amount of blood. At any point in the fight, are you like, fuck, man, like I better get a finish? Like I don't want them to call this. Like watching the fight, I got kind of concerned that they were going to call it at some point.
I couldn't see myself, so I didn't know how much blood there was or wasn't. And the cut that existed in the second round was not the same cut that we went into the third round with, because I couldn't see from that side of my face. Like I guess I always thought like if you see it, I'll see it with my left eye. But no, it does make a big difference that I couldn't see what was going on this side of my face because it seemed that the left hook was his like go-to move, and now I can't see said left hook. He's throwing kicks from that side, elbows. So he was landing on that side. Once the cut, went, it was just kind of a snowball effect. I couldn't see any more strikes coming, so they're landing more and spreading this cut. So I think the point when I did kind of think like, well, the first point was when they actually pulled me to the side and did check out the cut. I was like, fuck, they're gonna stop it. And a part of me was almost like, damn, like I'm winning. If I wasn't winning the fight at that point, then I might have been like, oh, I can't see as much. I don't know, but no, I knew I was winning. I knew I was ahead. I knew that, it was in the bag as long as I could survive, and I knew he couldn't take me out. But yes, again, when we got to that third round and I got the takedown and I kind of like started putting shoulder pressure, I'm looking down. I had realized that this cut was apparently nuts because of how much blood was pouring out of my face. But at that point, I was on the ground, so I just didn't think. I feel that they're more inclined to stop it when you're standing up and things are visible, but when you're kind of on the ground and stuff's just getting smeared around, I'm like, they're probably not going to stop it. So I wasn't worried they were going to stop it, but yes, in that moment when I took it down and it was kind of just pouring out, that like real like famous scene, then I was kind of off put by the amount of blood I've seen. It was a little odd. Wasn't digging that at all.
It was a total bloodbath. The fight ends up going your way. Did Paul talk to you after the fight?
Yes. So I went and died in the locker room for a moment. I was glad it was the co-main event because the main event was out there fighting. So the locker room's just cleared. So I'm free to just cry and die on the floor as much as I want. So that was excellent, and I guess he was doing the same thing. One of my teammates said that he was kind of like he was hurting over there too. So, and I think we both messed up our foot. So we were both just in bad shape. Really good fight, really big war. Once I kind of got my marbles back enough and my heart rate, everything kind of slowed down, adrenaline dumped, and I felt like a normal human being again. Then I went over there. I asked one of his teammates if I could talk to him, and he said, yeah, he was awesome. Honestly, they were great. I had to tell him like, dude, you're the best fighter I've ever fought. On paper and just tough, I guess. You get a lot of guys, especially at this level and the regional level, that are just really skilled, but they haven't fought. I haven't fought. So I've got that one under my belt, and I know if I bleed again, I'll be able to rely on that. But if I've never had that, if I've never been pushed like that, and at that point, neither one of us had. So I guess I was kind of thinking that if I put pressure like that on him, that he would fold, and no, he didn't falter at all. He threw right back.
I tell you what, like that's the type of guy that you want to train with all the time, if you can. Like he is a very gifted fighter. I think you guys are both going to be at the next level together. Like whether you fight him again or not, who knows? But
you don't have to earn
it.
I'm not doing it cheap.
He'll be there too. He's just too good. He definitely will be there as well. And that kind of like brings me to just kind of where you are in wake of your entire fighting career. I don't think I know there's not anyone else for you to fight. CFFC can't put another guy in front of you that you haven't already fought before. The past 3 fights in a row, Anderson, Dalipaj, and Capaldo, that's murderer's row. And you knocked
even
off
Jalen. Jalen's underrated. He hasn't fought. He almost fought on Cage Warriors like 2 weekends ago, and I was really excited to see it. But
yeah,
that man, he hits the hardest out of anybody.
I mean, like you fought the best of the best that promotion could offer you, and I think at this point, is it fair to say that I'm not going to go as far as to say UFC or bust, but like if you're going to continue to fight on the regional scene, like you're going to have to like take a fight that makes sense for you. Is that a fair statement?
So there's nothing exciting. There's always tomato cans to fight. There's always a can to crush. But if you haven't noticed it by now, that's not my interest. It's not my intent. My record is going to be like fine wine, and I want to control the narrative. So no, it's not perfect. I have a loss, but barefoot wine is the most popular wine because most people aren't really paying attention to what's going on. They want to look at what's the alcohol percentage and is it sweet or is it not? And it's a real generic view. And there's a lot of people who watch MMA and kind of have that generic view too. Oh, what's his record? And then they want to go a little bit deeper. They want a little more detail. Oh, well, is it finishes or did he go to decision? And they don't really go beyond that, but they don't look at like, oh, who has he fought? What were their records? Was he fighting tomato cans? And take it even further to make it more like wine. You just said it. Capaldo's going to be in the UFC. Issa Dalipaj, his jiu-jitsu, super underrated.
Yeah.
He's going to be in the UFC. He's too well-rounded.
Yeah.
These guys they're going to go on and their careers are going to make my career look even better. And that's not like making any derogatory marks on them. I hope that I go out and do so awesome and just finish everybody in the UFC so that when they look back at Capaldo, they're like, dude, that guy survived, and that helps him, they will be in the UFC. They are my peers. And I told him that, like, I look at you as my peer, a lot of people, I think like once I'm past them, but I don't, there was no loser in that. There's nothing interesting beyond this though. I could fight someone else and just put a number on my record. Maybe they want to see a nice finish, but it's not my goal to go out there and just get nice finishes, to just like have a number on my record. I want to fight the best guys. I want to have interesting fights. And when you watch me fight, I want them to know that it's going to be exciting.
Your fights definitely are exciting, Jose. I don't ever want to see you fight in CFFC again, or any regional promotion for that matter. I think you've earned the chance to go up to the next level. I fully expect at some point in the year, somebody's going to get the vid, somebody's going to get hurt, you're going to get a call. Like your name, I guarantee you, is already on that short list for people for Mick to call if there's some guy who either can't make the weight or one of those things happen that I just mentioned. Before I let you go, I have to ask, like, as far as your eye's concerned, like how many stitches was it? Because like I gotta
It
know.
was 10 stitches. Everyone thought it was going to be like
I
some
thought it'd be
crazy
an
amount.
insane
No,
amount.
no, it's not. It's just 10 stitches. She did say that it was deeper than what she would assume it would be for like the way I got the injury. There was just a real deep cut. But I'm telling you, man, it's these you see that ridge right there, dude? I'm a caveman. I got like I got these huge brow ridges. I'm telling you, I got a cut right here. This was an old cut that turned into a new cut. I just think I'm not saying I'm gonna be Nate Diaz, but maybe Nate Diaz-esque as far as blood goes. I just think that it's too easy. This was like a bump. It was a headbutt, but not even a hard headbutt. Just like literally just tapped me, and I started seeing blood. So I think I'm just gonna be one of those guys that's prone to getting cut up on here. So hopefully none of my opponents are listening, and they're just so precise that they can time that. But I
Nah,
just think it's my bones.
we're going to cut open your forehead, install a couple titanium plates. We're good to go, man. Good to go. That's
Can't
fake
get a bigger
news.
head, man.
Yeah.
Can't afford a bigger head.
That would be fake news. Jose, you're an absolute legend. I know it's only going to be a matter of time before you go up to that next level. I really appreciate your time this afternoon. I want to give you the opportunity to shout out any of your sponsors or any of your teammates that you would like to before I let you go.
Jose Perez has no sponsors. So if you guys are a brand that's interested in some good promotion, someone with a nice face and a good voice, I got you. But I did want to shout out G2 and my team and all those guys. I got to shout out the old lady, Shelby Ganaka. That's my girl. That's my real manager. When you hear about me they say I'm super professional in my industry. So when I get my paperwork done, just know that it's actually my lovely office lady, Shelby. She's taking care of all my medicals and sending the emails that I don't want to send because I'm probably at work. So shout out her and dude, shout out you. I just wanted to say that I remember like when this whole thing first started getting started. I mean, you kind of got started. Well, I was probably after you, but we're both still reasonably like new, and I like seeing you grow like alongside, and I'm sure you probably see me growing alongside you. So I think it's cool that it's I get to talk to the up and comers just like me.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thank you for that. And you know what? Next time, I'll have you back on, and we're going to talk about your UFC debut. And I'm looking forward to that, my friend.
Yes, sir. And it's going to be an exciting one. I'm trying to get a bonus on like my first fight. When I get to UFC, I'm not trying to fight like the tin cans. I want to fight like the best guys in the UFC. I just think that I'll be able to put on exciting.
I know who I want you to fight. Hang on, let me say goodbye to you first, real quick, as I'm not putting it on the recording. Jose Perez, thank you, man. You are a G, and we'll talk again soon.